if you just follow these three simple things, there are many lifestyle diseases like obesity, diabetes, hypertension, ये सब avoid कर सकते हैं.
One, when it comes to food. Second, on the exercise front. And third, aim for at least 8+ hours of sleep.
What kind of lifestyle modifications can you suggest for a working individual?
Firstly, nobody needs to carry 10-12 dabbas. These three are major pillars, food, movement and exercise.
मेरा motive muscle building है ही नहीं, तो मैं क्यों जाऊँ?
A very straightforward answer is that you need to. Who told you that you don't need to?
The doctors also nowadays are treating the symptoms.
First, the doctor need to start taking out time and effort for his or her own health. I see so many doctors, my friends, they are struggling with obesity, diabetes, dyslipidemia and so many other things.
एक common सबके दिमाग में है कि we need high protein food, we take protein powders. So is it required for everybody?
The past 20 years, I was having a protein supplement when a protein का jar was looked at as a steroid का डब्बा.
Hello and welcome to What the Health, the podcast where we simplify health, burst myths, and get real conversations right from the expert. Hi, I'm your host, Dr. Apurrva, and today we have with us Amazon bestseller writer, a celebrity nutritionist, and CEO and a founder of Pango, and who's given information on nutrition, lifestyle, and an advocate of preventive health. So let's welcome Azhar Ali with us here today. Thank you for your time and happy to have you here.
Thanks, Dr. Apurrva. I think this is really interesting, and I'm glad that I have this opportunity to come here and talk on preventive healthcare. Really looking forward, and I think this is a great platform because we definitely need to do a lot to try and see how best we can educate our population to really look forward towards preventive healthcare. So once again, thank you so much, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation.
So, Azhar, let's move on to the first section, talking about prevention. What do you feel? How important is preventive health?
I think we all have understood that, especially during the COVID times, nobody wants to fall ill. Nobody wants to get admitted. Nobody wants to perpetually be treated, right? And if you don't want all of that, then the only way out is to look after yourself and prevent all of that to happen. So I think not just me, everyone has understood the significance of prevention. We all knew prevention is better than cure, but I think during COVID, we all realized that. So I think this is something which we don't even have to debate whether we should focus or not. It's there. People know that we need to prevent.
True, absolutely true. But we've seen generally कि जब तक मुझे कुछ बीमारी नहीं है, we don't actually pay attention to those silent symptoms which we come across. So that's the reason I specifically ask कि हम बोलते हैं prevention is better than cure. We've been hearing since our school days, but वो follow नहीं होता है. तो how do you want to?
I think both, not just what we have been hearing or rightly believing that prevention is cure. At the same time, a very common statement is that we all, everyone watching this, listening to this, I'm sure if I ask you, health is wealth, true or false, everyone is going to say true.
True.
Do they really act that way? Absolutely not. And I think when you mentioned silent symptoms, a lot of times there are no symptoms. So a lot of times we see that people are in the myth that everything internally is okay because they do not see the damage. The damage is not evident. That there are a lot of times there are no symptoms till the time things really get out of hand, okay? And by that time it's already late.
Azhar, you've been actually advocating lifestyle changes since a very long time. In your experience, which are the major mistakes, or if you can list down maybe three of us for our audience that ये completely avoid करना चाहिए?
Oh, there are so many. Especially when we talk about lifestyle, the idea is very simple that everything that we do on a day-to-day basis, right? So that there are so many things. So if we were to put them into various segments, one would be the food, second would be your activity levels, and Third would be highly neglected, okay, but one of the most crucial aspect is your sleep and recovery. So if you were to put these three buckets into different thing, then in all these areas I would say people need to look at things. So if you ask me in food, I would say two things. A lot of people don't realize that we in this generation, we are overeating to no end. People don't even realize how much they are overeating, right? I have always been an advocate of not to talk about deprivation. Okay, don't do this. Like your question was that what are the things people should not do, right? And when it comes to diet, I do not mostly talk about what they should not be doing. I always talk about what they should be adding to their diet. But since you asked me what they should not be doing, then when it comes to the diet, definitely they have to make sure that they don't overeat. That's one of the major things which is seen across the board, right? People should stop overeating. That's one. If you talk about the other bucket, exercise, don't be lethargic, don't be a couch potato, don't just not do anything. Our bodies are meant to move. If you don't move your muscles, you lose your muscle. These chairs and stuff is one of the worst inventions at times, I feel. As technology is advancing, as convenience is getting, more and more convenient for everyone, we've forgotten that we are supposed to stand, sit, walk, run, jump, so avoid not being lethargic and sedentary. And third thing is high time people realize that the whole Netflix and binge, it might look and sound cool, but it is affecting you to an extent which you are not even able to comprehend at this moment. Sleep is so crucial.
Absolutely right, Azhar, that these are very simple things. People don't pay attention to it unless जब डंडा पड़ता है कि नहीं अभी ये
Yeah.
करना ही पड़ेगा, तब तक ये चीज़ें इजीली नेग्लेक्ट हो जाती है. एंड देन वी कम अप विद द थिंग दैट ओके, अरे अभी नहीं करेंगे तो कब करेंगे, बाद में तो हमको यही सब rules and regulations follow करने हैं. So people have their own excuses, but yes, you rightly said that these are just three simple things which we've been hearing since long, but we don't pay attention to that. So yeah, true, absolutely true. Similarly, if if the other side of it, that we you rightly said कि हमको ये नहीं बोलना चाहिए कि ये नहीं करना है, वो नहीं करना है, but तीन ऐसी चीजें which you feel that this is the must have things कि ये if you just follow these three simple things, there are many lifestyle diseases like obesity, diabetes, hypertension, ये सब avoid कर सकते हैं.
Okay, so I think the answer also would be a very
Same.
simple flip side of that. One, when it comes to food, make sure that you are conscious about making sure that your vital nutrient requirements are met, right? And of course, when you talk about nutrients, then the king of nutrient, protein, would be the top of the chart. Make sure that you are meeting your daily protein requirements and all the essential nutrients, right? And in addition to protein, I would also say make sure that people start adding more dietary fiber in their diet. Okay, so that's the nutrition and the diet part. Second, on the exercise front, it has to be a non-negotiable thing. Make sure that you take out time, and I would not say 4 days a week, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. You have to make sure that there is something or the other that you are doing to keep yourself physically active. And I'm talking about physically active beyond just walking. And third, aim for at least 8+ hours of sleep. And I'm saying 8+. I aim for to a few of our clients, I recommend between 8 to 10. And a lot of the people watching this would be like, is he even crazy? But the kind of stress that we are living in today's time, our body just by default needs more time to recover from that. So 8, I would say, is an absolute bare minimum. Between 8 to 10. And especially if there's somebody who's really active, who's really doing rigorous workout, has a very long, hectic work life, then between 9 to 10 is what one should aim at.
Okay, this is something new additional that I'm hearing, because generally we say that minimum 6 hours of sleep is important, but as you rightly mentioned, that the stress levels have increased so much that our body needs to relax so that we are back again the next day. Right. In fact, I was just going to ask you that working professionals have lots of excuses for themselves. Ki, we don't have time. We can't carry 10 different tiffins, and we keep moving from place to place. So it's not feasible for us to eat or open our dabbas and sit. So what kind of lifestyle modifications can you suggest for a working individual?
I feel a lot of times, firstly, nobody needs to carry 10, 12 dabbas. If you really see by and large, how many meals do we really eat in a day? I'm talking about main meals. Three: breakfast, lunch, dinner, right? And then in between these, let's say two more, one between breakfast and lunch, and one between lunch and dinner. So technically five, right? In most cases, breakfast would be at home, and in most cases, dinner would be at home. So technically, if you see, even if I were to look at five different meals, out of that, two are at home. So you don't have to worry about carrying the bus. So 10, 12 to cholo, five bhi nahi hai. It's only three meals that you need to carry if at all there is a need to. And I think if you have a structure, if you have clarity, okay, it's very easy to manage those three meals. A lot of working professionals, just because they do not have the meals with them, they don't have clarity and structure, they end up eating something else. So I think when it comes to professionals, it should be very easy to manage and take control of the three meals which you'll be having away from home.
Yeah, true. I mean, this is just a way I feel that people are giving us excuses. Ki, in fact, giving themselves excuses
Themselves, yeah.
that this is not going to work for me. So yeah, right.
And even on the, so let's say this was just the food part, the diet part. It's the same with exercise and sleep. I'm again and again reiterating because these three are major pillars, food, movement, and exercise. So maybe throughout our conversation, there will be a lot that we keep circling to and fro within these talk. But even if you look at exercise, I think it's very, very manageable to take out 45 minutes. You can even take out half an hour. The whole point is that you need to do something consistently. And even sleep, it's very important. And for everyone, I do these with my clients, okay? For everyone who tells me I do not have time, okay? For everyone watching this, do this. Take out your phone, okay? Go to settings and see the number of hours you spend every day on social media. I'll tell you the average is over 3 hours.
Yes.
You're getting it? So if more than 3 hours you are spending on just doom scrolling, that is the very simple answer. As you said, that you we are giving excuses to ourselves. It's not that you do not have time. It's not that we do not have time. It's just that where are we spending the time? And I'm telling you, look at anybody. It's more than 3 hours.
Yeah.
So we definitely cannot say that we do not have time.
Azhar, we have seen many a times, as I was just mentioning, the doctors also nowadays are treating the symptoms. What do you feel? What is your take? That is anybody actually educating the patients or I mean, as you said, your clients? I mean, in some cases, you see that you're stressing on some points, but prevention kahi pe miss ho raha hai. People are just, treating the symptoms but root cause tak nahi ja rahe hai, या they are not addressing कि what changes actually is to be needed so that you don't need all these things.
This is a, we can have a conversation only around this. This itself is a very, very important topic to have a conversation around. Maybe we can plan it out some other day. But I come across so many doctors. I closely work with so many doctors where we are involved with their patients, and the most something which worries me is firstly the health of the doctor. The doctor, so I would answer this, that this needs a two front approach. First, the doctor need to start taking out time an effort for his or her own health. I see so many doctors, my friends, in my contacts. They are struggling with obesity, diabetes, dyslipidemia, and so many other things. Right? So the doctors first need to start taking care of themselves. They need to start walking the talk. Right? At this moment, a lot of doctors would be telling the patient that you need to take care of yourself, fix your diet, start exercising, sleep well. But when you look at the doctor, it's evident that the doctor himself or herself is not doing that, right? So that's why it only stays to that superficial level where the doctor would just end up telling you once, but the doctor would not have the bandwidth to really emphasize. Wherein the doctor knows for himself, okay, or herself, and the patient, this is something which is a non-negotiable thing. So it has to be a two-front thing. The doctor has to start taking care of themselves, and at the same time, as you said, it cannot just be the treating thing. The doctors, it is time that the doctor should start introducing various continuity programs, because that's an absolute win-win. Most people today, they know what they're supposed to do, right? At least at the broad level,
The basic idea.
people know what they are supposed to do. People know what they are not supposed to do. Then too, they are not following this. Why? Right? If you ask anybody who is a diabetic and ask them what you're not supposed to eat or what you're supposed to keep a check on, they know. They know. Still, they will eat what they're not supposed to. Still, they will eat in the quantity what they know is so deadly for them. They still do. Why? Because it's not just you use the word knowledge and education. Sure, there is still a long way to go in that, but to a far bigger extent, people are aware. They know what they lack is they lack a continuous support and they lack system. So I would say structure slash system. They need a structure, and they need support for them to stay consistent on that structure. I think this is what is lacking.
In fact, I was just going to say the same thing, that generally, whenever we go to a physician or we go to some specialty doctor for diabetes, hypertension, or any other lifestyle diseases, it's just that one conversation that day, and then again maybe a follow up after 3 months, 6 months, or at times अगर कुछ होता है उसके बीच में तो we go to a doctor. That shift needs to be there, wherein there is a continuous
Yes.
kind of a, I would not say monitoring, but a conversation or a system, as you rightly said, wherein we know what is exactly happening, which is, I feel, that shift is needed now.
The shift, in one line, the shift has to go from episode based care to continuous care. I think
True.
this is need of the hour. And even from the doctor's point of view, with the way AI is advancing, a lot of doctors, while there are two sets of doctors, one feel ke kuch nahi hoga, and the others feel that they are skeptic ke kya kya ho sakta hai, will we be replaced? There is this big conversation
Yes,
that will
yes.
doctors be replaced, and I tell this to every doctor that one thing which AI cannot replace is human connection, right? So the moment you take this shift from episode based to a continuity based approach, that is what people need. The more and more AI is going to advance, the more and more social media and technology is gonna go all over the place. We are humans and we are only going to long for more human connections. So I think this is the time for doctors to understand that if you really want to make sure that you deliver the best care to your patients, as you said, conversations, a continuous conversation, so that there is that human touch, because that's what patients come to doctors for. They, a lot of times, they want somebody to listen to them, to
Yeah,
hear
in
them
fact,
out.
just to add to this, that empathy is
Yes.
is missing, and day by day it is depleting. जैसे पहले, I mean, I remember, I would say my grandmother or my great grandfathers, by default they had that connection with those doctors.
Yeah.
जो अभी it has become more of transactions.
Yeah.
So that is what even I feel is missing. And again, Azhar, you come across hundreds of doctors. You have so many clients who are into nutrition, following your nutrition and everything. So what do you feel that what is that one shift or a better thing that actually will help our country to move ahead? And because so we are a diabetes capital, we are moving ahead in obesity as well. So something which is something which is one line if you can mention ki iski zarurat hai abhi.
Two things I would say.
Okay.
From the doctor's perspective, it is the on both sides. Okay, I would say it's a mindset thing. The doctor's mindset has to be on the side wherein the doctors have to start talking more and more about continuity instead of, as you just mentioned, right? Instead of just treating, instead of just relying on making the patient rely on medicines. It's not the doctors, it's the patient. Because the doctors are still saying that, boss, don't come to us. We don't want you to come to us again and again, right? But then the patients don't really do that. So the doctor has to really, as I mentioned, walk the talk, and they have to start making sure that they talk about more lifestyle oriented changes that is required. So they should start doing it by themselves and make sure that then it will be a very natural and an automatic thing that they start talking about more, because now the doctor also might be a little hesitant, because what if the patient says, sir, aap nahi kar rahe ho kya? I've had these instances, right? And on the our population side, again, we need to, there I would say that there is more or higher requisite of constant hammering, because as we said, they know, right? A lot of people, they start or they don't start because mentally they are weak. They just feel that I can't do it. So that mental strength right at the start is very important. So there are people who get stuck at, it's not that people don't know, right, as we discussed. So first they struggle to get started, and second, even if they get started, they struggle to stay consistent. In both the scenarios, it is very important that they are mentally strong, that they can do it, okay, and they are mentally strong that they can sustain it. Of course, it will start with mindset, because if you, in your mind, if you cannot succeed, then there's no chance that you'll actually succeed when you're implementing. So one is that mentally you should believe that you can change, and second, of course, it won't just end with mindset. There has to be a need for systems and support.
Absolutely true. I mean, I totally agree to what you're saying that everybody knows kya karna hai. But that first step is what is very important. And once you take that step, consistency is the key.
And I think while on one hand we say that everyone knows, on the other hand, I get amazed when there are such silly mistakes which people do. Wherein, let me give you a very simple example. When it comes to oil, olive oil hai, so they feel that it's olive oil, kitna bhi khao. They think brown sugar hai ya jaggery hai, so no problem, kitna bhi khao. So education is still, we are still really far. While we say that people, लोगों को पता है, but these are the things.
अजर आई फील कि जितना मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है उतना ही मैं फॉलो करूंगा या करूंगी. या ओके ये सब सुना है तो उसमें से हम क्या ले सकते हैं जो हमारे लिए कन्वीनियंट है.
Selective.
Yes.
So you can say selective listening, selective implementation, and there is a lot that needs to be done on the education front as well. So I think platform like this is where people start getting more and more value, and people want. We are seeing this shift. It's not that people do not want, right? People want to. And even when we, earlier when you asked me that, why is it that they're not doing anything, there's also that, a lot of people are not really getting their routine checkups done. So as we said, those symptoms are silent, or at times there are no symptoms. You take pre-diabetes, borderline cholesterol, there's absolutely nothing that, you come to know what's happening. But when we talk about that India is becoming the diabetic capital of the world, I think I should have answered this when you asked me. India is the diabetic capital of the world. I think we are already crossed 100 million diabetics.
Yes.
But what I tell people that an even alarming number is that we've got, I think, more than 200 or 250 million people who are at a pre-diabetic stage. And even alarming number is that there are millions who have not even tested. They don't even know
No.
whether they are pre-diabetic.
That is more scary.
There is more. That's more scary, right? And a lot of time people they stay away from उनके mind में अरे पता चल गया तो और diabetes आ जाएगा तो tension. I said, how can you take that approach? The moment you know, the moment you test, the moment you know that you are at a pre-diabetic level, you can still get things sorted.
ये एक्चुअली एक कॉमन स्टेटमेंट है कि टेस्ट करेंगे या डॉक्टर के पास जाएंगे तो कुछ नया चीज हमारे पीछे लग जाएगा, उससे अच्छा करो ही ना.
And they assume कि कुछ नहीं है अंदर. So again, this can only get sorted with education.
Absolutely. Azhar, let's move on to our next segment, What If. So I'll just give you some scenarios and you can just let the audience know that what if, we can reply on that. If someone is not doing workout, what do you tell them?
I tell them you can either wait when it becomes a compulsion or you can start when you know it's an option. So
Yeah, मतलब I don't have time, तो मैं क्या करूँ types.
As simple as that. ये आपको करना ही है. Either do it when you know you have the time to plan and do it at your convenience so that you can really build upon that. When the time comes, when the life forces you to take care of that, you don't know अब कैसे होगा करके. So आज नहीं तो कल आपको करना ही है. So you might as well start taking your time for that now. It's a non-negotiable.
What if a patient is motivated initially but there is no consistency and फिर निकल जाता है system से?
Motivation fades. We all know that. None of us can really achieve anything out of pure motivation. Motivation can give you that start, but then eventually, as I said earlier, you need systems and support to make sure that you really stay on that. And as I said before, even that mental belief and mental conviction that you can do it and you will do it.
We hear many a times from many patients that मैं सब सही कर रहा हूँ, I'm doing everything right but still I'm not losing weight.
I'll tell you what, almost everyone who come to us, almost everyone, they are in this zone. We have a practice that we take a recall that let us know what. You'll be surprised that during the recall they only tell us the right things what they are supposed to do. In their mind, उनके mind में कि ये चीज़ बताओ, so that ऐसा लगे कि मैं तो सब सही करता हूँ. Then I have to pause and then I have to say, ये सही में यही कर रहे हो? Then they're like, हाँ, past एक हफ्ते से 2 हफ्ते से तो हम यही कर रहे हैं. Said no, इसके पहले का बताओ. Then when they start, so you see, it is in their mind a lot of times that they think and assume that they are doing the right things, but in reality they are not. They are in that false belief that they are doing everything right, but they are not. And maybe let's say even by the look of it, it might be right, but actually it is not. As I said, right? They might be thinking that I'm having olive oil, but kitna olive oil khale? A lot of times they don't know, that what they are doing. So it could be conscious and unconsciously. They assume that they are doing right, but believe you me, they are not. That's the very reason the outcome shows accordingly, right?
And many a times कि चलता है attitude, I had it only once, पर वो once कितने बार आ रहा है? True. What if someone, you see Mumbai is, a fast moving city and there are many people coming from outstation and all. So somebody who is just relying on those delivery apps. So what is that one thing that you will tell them?
I think in Mumbai, if we are particularly talking about Mumbai, I'm strictly against. I don't have any delivery app on my phone and I never had. And if you really want convenience, okay, there are plenty of options. You just need to spend some time, identify somebody who can actually give you what you want. So you don't really need apps, because what happens with apps is it's more on the go. As I said earlier, there's no planning. So when you don't know at that moment, it will always be a challenge to find out for an option which is best. you cannot be in that constant decision making mode. That's why you need to plan ahead. That's why you should know in advance what you want. And once you know that, I think in Mumbai, we have enough number of options who can actually deliver food as per your requirement. And if we were to talk about apps, and I think apps are also now getting updated, wherein they are having options of healthier,
Healthy treats, yes.
but people are still not there to pick by themselves. You know, by the look of it, it will look healthy, but they cannot be in that zone to know that what's really the macro and the calorie count. Even if they know, by that one meal, they'll not be able to understand that how does the entire day span out. So take out some time. You do not have to rely on spontaneous ordering on apps. Plan ahead. Go look up for options. There will be people who can deliver food at your doorstep just the way your body and your goals require.
True, absolutely true. I mean, there are lots of tiffin services also. Home cooked meals also is. I mean, and in a city like Mumbai, you have plenty of options available.
And I rely on that, by the way. So at least lunch, okay, by and large, is I have somebody who cooks it and sends it over wherever I am. But it's all planned ahead.
Good, right. So, what if somebody has, is a pre-diabetic stage? So, only lifestyle changes can help?
100%. 100%.
Okay. And, people generally say कि अरे मैं बहुत चलता हूँ, for work purpose also I commute a lot, I move around. So can that be called an exercise? Is that enough?
So that definitely falls under movement. Exercise, I tell people, it has to be a deliberate and a conscious effort to stay active and perform a certain set of movements. Known objective, right? So walking, technically by definition, even if you are taking your time to walk and get those extra steps in even throughout the day while you are working, it's great, but that cannot be sufficient. That is not sufficient for what your goals actually require. Be it whatever lifestyle modification prevention that we're talking about. If I were to link it to building muscles, you cannot build muscles just by walking. And building muscles is one of the crucial things, when we talk about longevity. And I keep telling people, people fall in for the fancy longevity hacks. But one of the most substantial output that you can get on longevity is by building more muscles. Because the moment you start working towards that, you see how your body and your entire system behaves and keeps you away from so many lifestyle diseases. So walking is great. If you're trying to get those extra steps in, it's amazing and it's required. It's like, I like to tell people, there are a lot of people who are very regular with exercise in a gym or various forms of exercise. They spend 40-45 minutes or an hour, but then they are not walking enough. You can't, either or cannot be replaced. You need to take out time for both.
Yeah, in fact, a very apt point that you've mentioned, that generally people follow कि मेरे 10,000 steps हो गए, मतलब I'm good enough, I'm working out. But you rightly said that muscle building and walking both are important, because that comes under sedentary lifestyle, even if you are working out but not moving around. So that's a very valid and a great insight that you've given.
It's like every form of exercise, you should know what is the objective, what is the outcome that you're looking for from that. And for various objectives, there are different forms of movement, and ideally you should be incorporating. So there's something which I've covered in my book as well, that you need to have, it might sound ke अरे यार इतना सब करना है क्या, but I'm just talking about an ideal scenario. You're supposed to walk, you're supposed to go to the gym, you're supposed to play a sport, you're supposed to swim. There are various aspects, that you need to make sure you're doing something so that they are all ticked.
So you mean like जैसे खाने में हमको variety लगती है, so similarly
yes, it's important, and variety is also going to help you stay consistent. For a lot of people, in gyms also, a lot of people want variety, but there you cannot find variety. A bicep curl
Hmm.
is supposed to help you build your bicep. There will only be a few exercises that will help you build your biceps. You can't keep experimenting new forms of exercises to build your biceps. But then, if you really want variety, look for somewhere else. Look at other activities which can add in those variations. Go for swim, play, something or the other. So that's where you should look for variety, and it is important.
Azhar, we'll move on to our next segment now. Myths and facts, very interesting ones. So let's buzz those myths. Myth or fact, dieting means giving all your favorite food away.
Absolutely not. The term it's an absolute myth. If you want a one word answer, then it's a myth. But if you want me to elaborate on that, firstly, people don't even know. Unfortunately, sadly, uh, people don't even know what does dieting means. The first thing people think of when it is about dieting, not just about giving away favorite food, dieting by default has a negative connotation. People only take it as deprivation. Dieting, if you ask somebody that I'm on a diet, okay, they'll say ye nahi khana, 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 ye nahi khana. By default, give up this, give up that. By default, it has a negative connotation, which is wrong. What does a diet mean? I do a lot of corporate talks and stuff. Whenever I'm in a group and whenever I ask people what is diet, you ask my son, I've taught them, both my son and my daughter, they know diet is the sum total of the food that you eat in a day. So if you ask anybody, are you on a diet? The answer has to be yes, because if you're eating food, that's a diet, right? Whether your diet is good or bad is
In fact, always the answer is no, because whenever anybody is asking you,
Yes.
अरे तू ये नहीं खा रहा तो डाइट पे है क्या? नहीं नहीं. तो वो एक मतलब we take a back कि नहीं, we are not on any diet, we are eating everything.
You're understanding?
Yes.
That is such a wrong interpretation of the word diet.
Absolutely true. Again, a myth of fact. Certain foods can directly burn fat or can be the reasons to weight loss. ऐसे बोलते कि ये खाओगे तो fat burn होगा, ये खाओगे तो weight loss होगा.
I have a very simple answer for anybody. Okay, for anybody who believes in this, then India would not be third highest when it comes to obesity. 25% of our population would not have been overweight. If there was one food, if somebody ate, and you see the number of drugs being introduced, वो सब होता ही नहीं ना. We wouldn't have all of that. If there was one magic food or the so-called superfood that if you ate that, you'll end up losing weight.
I don't know how much true or false it is. I won't comment because you are an expert in that. Ki you have those apple cider vinegar in the morning on empty stomach. You have, there are many things which keep popping up, on social media, as well as if you just try and Google something. How do you actually, people get confused कि हम ये कर रहे हैं. That's when that scenario है कि अरे मैं 2 महीने से ये खा रहा हूँ, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा. It is not going to work for me.
If you're watching this, can I directly just
Please,
speak with them?
please.
If you're watching this, there is absolutely nothing. There is no single food which can promise you or have an effect on weight loss or diet. It is the whole 360-degree approach. Your 24 hours multiplied by the 7 days of the week, multiply that by 30 days of the month and 12 months of the year. What you are doing on an everyday basis, day by day, week by week, month by month, year on year, is what is going to define how your health shapes up. It's as simple as that.
So in one word, there is no shortcut.
No, absolutely not. And stop looking for. Stop looking, because
That's what is more important.
Because people are looking for shortcuts. People are just ready to create a business out of anything and sell you.
As in many a times, again, myth or a fact that I have, as I was saying, we walk a lot. We do lots of household chores. I am very active, and in an activity chart, I would be at maybe 8 or 9. That I don't have a sedentary lifestyle. Is that enough?
That's what I said. It's earlier. It's not. In India, especially women, okay, I come across this that a lot of times majority of the women they feel that we are active because we are doing the household work, and that's sufficient. That's their definition of staying active. And unfortunately, even if you see the entire population, for majority of our population, irrespective of the gender also, and I would say age also, majority of the population, walking alone is the single highest contributor when it comes to what exercise do you do. If you do any exercise, walking tops the chart.
Yes.
And walking, as we discussed earlier, is not sufficient, and you just being active in your daily uh, household work is not sufficient.
Again, similar question to this. You know, there's always a confusion that I don't want to build muscle, so I don't need to go for a strength training, or I don't need to go to a gym because मेरा मोटिव मसल बिल्डिंग है ही नहीं, तो मैं क्यों जाऊं?
Very important question. A very straightforward answer is that you need to. Who told you that you don't need to?
Mm-hmm.
Who, when I'm saying you, I'm addressing everyone.
Absolutely.
Whoever says that I don't need to, my first response to them is, who told you you don't need to? It's not even a want, it's a need. Building muscles is a need. Making sure that you have stronger muscles is a need. If you want to stay away from so many conditions, say joint health, bone health, metabolic conditions, it is absolutely a need for you to build muscles. You should not think that going to the gym and building muscles is that for women or anybody who men. You will not become a bodybuilder. Ask those bodybuilders, वो कितनी कोशिश कर रहे हैं, muscles नहीं build हो रहे, and you think कि जिम जाने से आपके muscles build हो जाएंगे? No, it's a very a lot of effort is required to build muscles. तो आपके चाहने से भी muscle build नहीं हो जाएगा. Believe you me, those who are trying to build muscles, it takes years. It takes years, and it is an absolute needed thing for everyone. It's like a lot of women. If women did not need muscles, then why were women born with muscles? होता ही नहीं ना फिर muscles. Right? Now that you have muscles, as you start aging,
You need to maintain it.
You cannot maintain it. Have the approach of growing it. Because at least if you're trying to grow, you will at bare minimum maintain it.
Right.
आपके mind में ही है that I want to maintain, वो कभी नहीं होगा. And this word maintain, I don't like this word. Okay, I tell this to it's everything is the mindset thing. I tell people that tell me all the other areas of your life. Okay, the house. Do you want to stay here? Or you want to get to a bigger house? You want to stay at the same office, or you want a better office? You want a better laptop, better gadget, better car. Is there any area you just want to maintain? Do you want same amount of love that you're getting from your family, or you would want more? We want more from every area. But जब health की बात आती है, we by default think के maintain करने. Why not have an approach of doing better over there as well? वो maintain automatically हो जाएगा.
Very rightly said.
If somebody has 100 crores and now when he's trying to work towards 500 crore, वो 100 crore automatic maintain हो जाएगा. This just to give an analogy.
Absolutely. I mean, very rightly said that. Right. I mean, I can totally relate to what you're saying कि हम बोल रहे कि नहीं maintain करो. Maintain क्यों करना? अगर हम बाकी चीज़ों में improvement कर रहे हैं तो इसमें क्यों ना करें?
A lot of time, when I told you that most of the times my lunch also comes from outside, from somebody who plans it and sends it. A lot of times when patients come to me and they this is their question. तुझे क्या ज़रूरत है ये करने की? This is something which I come across so often. That, sir, why do you need to? I said, because I am also even today trying to get better. So it's as simple as that.
True, absolutely true. Just to lead to this further, as you said, muscles and all, we were talking about muscles. A common, सबके दिमाग में है कि we need high protein food, we take protein powders. So, is it required for everybody, or it's become a mandate कि kind of a fad, I would say, कि protein खाना है, हर एक चीज़ में protein खाना है. तो and protein powder, अगर वो नहीं है तो protein powder is mandate for everybody. What do you have to say on that?
I think it's going in the right direction at least.
Okay.
Because I think for past 20 years, I was having a protein supplement when a protein ka jar was looked at as a steroid ka dabba.
Yes.
I have been educating people about having. So I am happy about this whole shift, and I would not say that this is a fad. I think this is great. That more and more people are getting educated that how important it is for them to meet their daily protein requirement, and the source could be any, right? If you are unable to meet your daily protein requirement from food, then you have alternatives in the form of various supplements wherein you can add to that, right? So I think on that note, I'm happy that people are getting more aware about this. I'm happy that people are taking initiatives to meet their protein requirement. But what I'm also seeing is that just now, just because there is protein written on that, they automatically assume कि बाकी सब चीज भी उस प्रोडक्ट में ठीक है.
ठीक है.
So you see that is also to an extent leading to overconsumption, wherein you think ये प्रोटीन है तो खा लो, अब प्रोटीन है तो कितना भी खा लो, without really bothering to check that what all was added in that. So that's where we are. But overall, I am happy. It's just that people need to start being a little more.
I would say just be a little cautious that
More cautious, a little more awareness with respect to now to see things in more a more holistic way. When I say holistic, in the sense the whole product. Just because protein लिखा है इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि ठीक ही है. Because calories matter. We need to ensure that we don't end up overeating.
Overeating and again anything which is in excess is also bad. So
You mean protein?
yeah, because we hear many a times. I mean, there are lots of stories that are being circulated that kidney को affect होता है, ये होता है, वो होता है.
This is something way before even this whole protein thing came up, and I used to tell people, bare minimum ही नहीं मीट हो रहा है, तो आपका प्रोटीन एक्सेस में जाने का तो चांस बहुत ही कम है. दैट्स नंबर वन. नंबर टू, व्हाट रियली पीपल नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इज दैट there is no mechanism in our body to store protein on a daily basis, right? So if you have ended up eating 400 grams of protein, just for instance, जो extra था is out of the system. So that's why it's important that ऐसा नहीं है that आपको if your daily protein requirement let's say is 100, so in a week 700, तो मैं मंडे के दिन 400 खा लूँ and बाकी no. That's why it's important that you meet your daily protein requirement. You cannot like आज खा लिया पूरा so अभी अगले दिन भी. So there are a lot of nuances to it. I'm just giving an example of day by day, but our body keeps functioning every second by second, right? But so don't worry about the excess. Chances are very, very low that you will end up with excess, and that too you will end up with excess on a consistently day-to-day. Day-wise, it's a very rare.
Azhar, also we've heard a lot that skipping meals is good or bad because सबके अलग-अलग point of view है इसमें. Some people say that okay, skipping meals is like intermittent fasting and it is helping. Some say कि नहीं, there would be a spike in your sugar levels and so it's better that you eat but in a smaller quantity at regular frequency.
So it would have to be in context. If there is a person, if there is a patient wherein we are looking at a specific thing, then the approach would be different. But if you are just talking about the general population who's just trying to lose weight or try to stay away from diabetes and they are other blood markers, the metabolic blood markers. So if you just blindly try skipping meals, we've often seen that those who skip meals, when the time comes to eat food, they end up eating far more when they must have. If they would have eaten regular meals at regular times, their hunger would be not at a state wherein they are over hungry and they just end up eating far more food. So we've seen that when people just try to plain skip meals, and the food comes, they end up eating more.
So, just to sum up, ki if something is suiting you, that might not suit me.
100%.
So, I mean, and every body type is different. So, just don't blindly follow what others are doing.
A lot of people do that, OMAD, one which is one meal a day, 2 meal a day. If you are very sure that you are going to only have 2 meal a day, 2 meals a day, or 1 meal a day, then as I said, it needs to be planned. Because if you're just having 1 meal a day, or if you're just having 2 meals a day, maybe you might be able to control the calories. But at the same time, as we discussed earlier, you also have to ensure that you're meeting your daily nutrient requirements. So if you're only having 2 meals a day, are those meals sufficient to make sure that all your nutrient requirements are also met? A lot of people don't end up looking it from that lens.
So just to add to this, Azhar, I just wanted to also understand that many a times we say that we don't get complete nutritional balance support from the meals that we eat. So what do you have to say about the nutritional supplements? Because nowadays there are many brands who've come up and we don't understand exactly which is right or wrong. So some say कि नहीं खाने में से जो आ रहा है जो हम पहले से खा रहे हैं वो balanced meal is more than enough. And there are other set of people who also say that नहीं nutritional supplements जो भी खाने से नहीं आ रहे वो वहीं से आपको मिल सकता है. So what do you have to say on that?
Two ways to look at it. Primarily, it should come from food. The whole term supplement is supplementary. You cannot make it the primary source, right? But at the same time, we know that it is supposed to come from food. For majority of the people, we know by the sound of it, unke mind mein hai that we are eating balanced meals, but they are not. We come across people are barely eating fruits and vegetables. People are barely eating nuts and seeds. So वो खाने में वो nutrient आने का chance ही नहीं है when you are not the major food groups, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds. If all of this is not part of your daily diet, chances are very high that the vitamins and minerals would be deficient. And if that is the case, then supplements do come in handy.
Azhar, let's look at the next segment. What's trending and what's actually troubling. We've heard a lot about those drugs. I want to address that now. GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic and all. Is it good and is it okay for everybody?
It's definitely not okay for everyone. It's great that we have these drugs for people who are really struggling. Okay, for a lot of people, this definitely is a good thing. I'm talking about those who are really metabolically ill and who've been struggling with because these drugs are primarily not weight loss drugs. So I think I'm understanding a question that people. So no, this is not a drug that you take for your recreational needs. That you just want to lose weight and kaun jayega. You cannot like outsource your effort to medicines. Right, so it is not a recreational drug, but yes, if you are clinically at a stage, now these drugs could really come in handy, and that also needs to come from a doctor, who is specialized only in helping you through these drugs. Unfortunately, this is coming from random people are just outrightly trying to take this as an OTC drug,
Actually,
and that is, I think, that is the scary part.
The myth that it is not a weight loss drug, it is actually a diabetic medicine. But it's been portrayed as if कि हमको एक्सरसाइज और डाइट की जरूरत नहीं है, हमने ये ले लिया तो.
And to add to that, something very, very, very important, even let's say if we were to keep the whole debate out, whether who should or who should not, okay, even if we keep this whole debate out and let's say for some reason आप तो हमारी नहीं सुनोगे और आप फिर भी ले लोगे, let's assume that if you're in that category, that if I have this, why don't I take it? Know that this is not the end. Even if you're taking this drug, this is just the start of your journey. You will not be perpetually on this drug. So whether you are right now taking this drug, planning to take this drug, or eventually stop taking this drug, you cannot omit the fact that your lifestyle modifications still have to be rectified. You still need to fix what you're eating. You still need to fix your exercise regime. You still need to fix your sleep. So taking that drug is not the end. It's not the end solution. It is something to get you started, get you in that zone. But then eventually, before, during, and after that drug, you still have to depend. You cannot get away from that.
Just to add to this further, who are the right candidates for this? I mean, as we are moving on to this, because now जैसे क्रोसिन मिल रहा है वैसे वो ड्रग्स मिल रहे हैं, पीपल आर जस्ट ब्लाइंडली using it.
I think the right candidate would be that people who are severely obese, they have other comorbidities. Okay, I think they are the right audience for that, and that too, again, as I said, go to the doctor. Your doctor will look at your blood markers, and the doctor will take a call that who is the right person, if you are a good fit for this or not. But this is the category of population that should be looking for.
So are we being more over dependent on these medications?
Yeah, unfortunately, we see that happening. As I said, people are outsourcing their effort. I come across not just this drug. I come across a lot of people, especially when I'm working with an endocrinologist or a diabetologist. They know that the medicines alone is not going to be sufficient. So, but people are like, "ठीक है ना, हम दवा खा रहे हैं ना." That is a mindset which needs to change.
True. So there are many variables that have come in the market, the rings, the bands. Is it an hype or it is actually helping? What do you have to say on that?
There are multiple variables. Okay, so to say, a smartwatch or a ring, or we see that band.
Bands,
okay?
yes.
And we also see that CG
Patch,
patches,
yes.
right? I have different takes for all the ones, but one thing for sure, which I kept saying, the patches which were so much in a hype, now you barely see, right? And I kept telling people that was not meant for general population. I tried that. Whenever something of that comes in, I try it, and that was something I kept telling people. It will unnecessarily start playing with your mind. If you are a general population, if you have nothing wrong with your blood markers, you don't need that. That was primarily that I would recommend for somebody who's a type 1 diabetic, right? It's a great thing for somebody who's a type 1 diabetic, but not for general population. I'm good that now we've seen that's it's phased out. We don't see as many people trying to wear that or show that off. But the other wearable devices, I think one area which I really feel, the two areas largely, your activity and your sleep. So I wear this purely to track my sleep. One, it just gives me constant nudge whether or not I'm meeting the quantum, and second, the quality. The quantity and the quality of the sleep is very important. So wearables technology can really come in handy, but you need to understand it can only give you data. Nothing changes if you don't change.
So it's just that don't follow the trend, actually use it for the betterment.
Unfortunately, I've seen people wearing this just because they are wearing it, they feel they are doing everything right. So,
another thing we had mentioned some time back about AI. So AI again people have both, yes and no for that, but there are many doctors who actually fear whether it is going to replace them, or they are not very sure how to adopt it, because we follow certain set of every doctor has a set of things कि हमको ये करना है, पेशेंट ऐसा होगा वैसा होगा, all the systems are set. उसके अंदर कुछ नई चीज आती है तो you are not ready for it. So what do you have to say on that?
I think definitely one thing is there, that the pace at which AI is advancing is crazy. At when it's not that things will change in 2 decades or decade. Every day we are seeing that it is advancing at a crazy pace, right? We are seeing kiosk in China. We are seeing all that content where, especially at the diagnostic level or at a prescription level, we can see it at multiple stages. Diagnosis, prescription, surgical, at all the levels we are seeing AI is entering. Correct? At all the levels, diagnostic, prescription, surgery. Maybe you can say that, surgical would be the last thing. But semi
Yes.
assisted surgeries are already a thing.
Yes.
So, by no means, I think any of us have a doubt that it will catch up, right? At a diagnostic and a prescription level, okay, I think it is far ahead already. And if you see now, the patients already now come, and even after the prescription the doctor has given, the patient goes and puts it at a very basic level. You call it chat gpt, notebook lm, claude. At a very basic level also, the patients have access to this. Like, I know people who डॉक्टर के पास पहले ही जाके बता देते ये दवा का ये है. And so as we said earlier, the doctors will have to make sure that they are beyond only diagnostic, they are beyond only prescription, and they are beyond only surgeries. It has to be a more engaging and continuity driven approach that will always be required. And if the doctors, the moment they start adopting that earlier, I don't think so they'll have to ever worry about the AI cannot replace that human connection.
In fact, I feel, Azhar, that instead of doctors getting afraid about it, it's better to learn it and use it for the betterment. And in the same fashion, पेशेंट्स को भी लगेगा कि अरे कुछ नया टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवन कुछ आ रहा है. अगेन जस्ट टू रिफ्रेन कि बिफोर नोइंग कि ये एक्चुअली हेल्पफुल है कि नहीं, ये नहीं होगा. इनफैक्ट इन आर मेडिकल फील्ड ऑल्सो वी कीप ऑन अपडेटिंग आवर सेल्फ, वी डू मेनी सर्टिफिकेशन. सो आई फील वी शुड एक्चुअली टेक इट एज अ न्यू एडवांसमेंट, लर्न इट, यूज इट फॉर द बेटरमेंट इंस्टेड ऑफ जस्ट सेइंग कि नहीं ये नहीं, ये इससे दूर भागो.
100%. There's absolutely no doubt that, and I'm sure every doctor to certain extent has already started doing that. So wherever you can see that there is a leverage for you, absolutely, the doctors or nobody should not miss that. I think we all are already, the level is different. Who is utilizing AI at what level? The level would be different, but I'm 100% sure that almost everyone who has a mobile phone and almost everyone who has ever done some sort of Google search, they have gone beyond that.
Absolutely. And as you rightly said, we don't have to be worried because that human touch, that empathy is what will make us different from the robots. So that is not going to go anywhere. I mean, so AI will just help us to, I feel that, just advance those things. And in fact, the patients would also be happy that we are at par with the trends.
It's a tricky thing, it could be the other way around, where the doctors might feel that the patient is saying that अरे तो AI से बता रहा है तो हम ही बात पूछ के बता लेते हैं. So it's a tricky thing, but irrespective, we all know that the doctor will be using. Might as well the doctor say that, we know the better way of using this. So I think that would be the right way to portray it to the patient so that आप भी use कर सकते हो, but we are using it with our knowledge as well. It's a different thing.
So Azhar, before we just wrap up, if you can just help us know something about your book. We've heard it's an Amazon bestseller.
Again, the idea is very simple. It was with the whole idea that this was back when people did not have access to AI, content through AI, and people still had access through Google searches. And we used to say that you're just Googling your stuff. And back then, when I authored this book, roughly around the COVID time, there was so much misinformation. Even today, the situation is still the same. How we've evolved. There was a time when people barely had information. Now there is over information. How would one cut through? So that was the primary objective. And a lot of times people used to come to me saying कि कुछ tip दे दे, can you give some tips? And when I used to say that, बस सिर्फ टिप से कुछ नहीं हो सकता है. They used to feel अरे बताना नहीं है क्या? I was okay, fine. Let me put this all down. So one of my mentors, one of my coaches was like that, Azhar, you should write, should author a book so that everyone has access to that. That's how I came up with that. So now nobody can tell me bata nani. If somebody says boss bata, everything is there. You can literally read and never have to come to me.
Thank you so much, Azhar. I mean, I feel this conversation that we had today was very, very insightful and right from the heart. I mean, it was just flowing through a lot of information. If somebody actually sits to understand, there were many things mentioned, which is going to be actually very, very helpful to the audience. इतना भी बेसिक फॉलो करेंगे तो भी हम कुछ we can attend what as per our health goals what we want to achieve. And secondly, I would say that it is just stuck in my mind very strongly कि why do you want to maintain. अगर हम बाकी चीज़ें मेंटेन नहीं करें, सब में हमको अपग्रेड चाहिए, तो हेल्थ में अपग्रेड क्यों नहीं चाहिए. सो दैट इज एक्चुअली दिस मैसेज हैज struck in my mind very strongly. And I feel whoever is watching this, please do follow and understand this. And thank you once again for actually taking out time. You have a great experience of handling so many patients, working with so many doctors, helping improve so many lives. So thank you so much for your time. And thank you again. I'm Dr. Apurrva. This is the podcast What the Health. Stay healthy, stay happy. Thank you.